protecting the police every single day.
Charlotte County Sheriff Bill Prummell makes excuses for all the people his jail has killed for non-existent medical care. Our view. Sheriff Prummell defends his jail, Corizon Health. Our position, Charlotte County Sheriff Bill Prummell is convinced he is giving inmates at the jail the best care available. We have our doubts. I think we have the best jail in the state. That's what Charlotte County Sheriff Bill Prummell told The Sun Friday. Prummell agreed to a sit-down with Sun staff to discuss criticism of Corizon Health, the jail's health care provider. Dozens of current and former inmates have accused Corizon of withholding medications and providing poor care while they were incarcerated. The jail is being sued over at least one death, and there is at least one other death that relatives say was likely attributed to poor care at the jail. On top of that, there have been several lawsuits over the past few years, many dismissed, that accuse Corizon of not properly caring for sick inmates. Prummell and Colonel Tom Rogers, his second-in-command, who at one time was in charge of the jail, dispute claims that Corizon does not provide good care for inmates. They also defended the fact that in Prummell's 8 years in office, the contract for health care at the jail has never been bid on but rather given to Corizon. We talked to 66 other sheriffs in Florida about health care at jails, and there is no better information out there than what they tell us, Rogers said, adding that Corizon rises above other state providers. Prummell said when the last contract with Corizon was up, he looked at costs for other providers and found Corizon to be cheaper. And, on top of that, he said they offered additional services to sweeten the pot. It was just a better deal, he said. Rogers added that the jail was opening its new infirmary when the last contract was up, and changing providers would have just made the transition that much more difficult. Prummell said the criticism by some inmates and this newspaper fails to give credit for all the good Corizon and the jail do. We had 8,000 inmates in 2018 and you have 20 to 30 who complained about health care, he noted. You don't know about the people we help. We had 2 taken to the hospital for extended stays recently. The sheriff did say, there are probably things we can do better. He also blamed problems obtaining inmates' health records for much of the delay in providing care and the correct medications. The sheriff makes good points, but we know of no other Charlotte County department or office that does not accept bids on projects, especially something as important as health care, which costs the jail more than $2.6 million a year. And if Corizon is the most qualified provider in Florida, we can't imagine how bad the others must be. Corizon has been sued hundreds of times nationwide over health care it provides in jails and prisons and, according to a story in The New Yorker by Steve Call, many of the suits charged wrongful death and or injury. Corizon recently settled a wrongful death lawsuit in Oregon for $10 million. We do not believe Sheriff Prummell would provide inadequate care to save money. And, we believe he cares about the well-being of his inmates. We are not convinced Corizon Health is the best provider available.
Deputies are investigating this morning after an inmate at the Charlotte County Jail was found dead in his cell. The Charlotte County Sheriff's Office says the inmate was found unresponsive in his cell just after 5 yesterday afternoon. Staff found him with a piece of material around his neck. They attempted to resuscitate the man, but were unsuccessful. The inmate's name has not been released since they cannot locate next of kin. The inmate was a white male in his 50s. A phone line has been set up for families to call and check on their loved ones. You can see that number right there at the bottom of your screen.
Hi there, this is Rodney McGee. I'm here to talk to you about a Thomas Robert Anderson, a man that was murdered in Charlotte County Jail and Medical Pod C Block. He was behind glass 3 doors down. I was in like cell 18, I believe, cell 9 maybe, by the showers. I witnessed the whole thing. He came in and he was screaming about chest pains and hollering and making a whole bunch of noise begging for help. Rogers and his partner went in, told him to calm down. He kept hollering about chest pains. They went in, they tased him, they sprayed him. They washed him up, put him back in his cell. He still kept complaining about chest pains. So they put him in the restraint chair. This whole time he hollered and hollered and hollered for about 2 hours, saying he was having a heart attack. All of a sudden he stopped complaining, stopped hollering. At around 4 o'clock, they pulled him out of the chair, and his feet were black. He done peed himself. He done soiled himself. His lips were blue. He was dead. I yelled to everybody at the pod to pay attention to the time, because they were going to try to revive him with the paddles. They hit him with the paddles a couple times, but like I said, he already soiled himself, so he was dead. He's been dead for hours. And it's all due to the negligence of the sheriff's department and its COs. And when I started hollering for people to pay attention at the clock and what time and all this, and the fact he's been soiled, Sergeant Sesko told me flat out, if I didn't shut up, I was going to be next. Which I did not shut up. And they just left me alone. But I'm here to say that the Charlotte County Sheriff's Department murdered this man. He was a 56, I believe, maybe 54, Vietnam vet. He was homeless and he was arrested for panhandling, holding a sign that says, "I love Jesus, please help." Simply because he held this sign, they murdered this man. They refused him medical treatment, and when he begged for medical treatment, they sprayed him, tased him. Then they cleaned him up, and he was still begging for medical treatment because of his chest pain. They turned around, they put him in a restraint chair until he died, and they left him there for 2 hours. Like I said, when they pulled him out, he had already soiled himself, pissed himself, his feet were black in color, and his lips were grayish blue. There was no need for the paddles. The paddles was all an act so the video cameras could show them trying to revive him. But if you would do a close-up at the video cameras, because Medical Wing has video, if you would do a close-up at the video cameras, you would see just what I seen. He already soiled himself, his feet were black, and his lips were grayish blue. His body, his chest cavity was already starting to bloat. As a matter of fact, they had to zip tie his hands over his belly when they put him on the medical cart to take him to the ambulance, because he was so bloated that his hands would not stay on his belly. I did watch the whole thing, and it was a total act of murder upon our Charlotte County Sheriff's Department, William Prummell, and his deputies. Thank you very much, Rodney McGee.
Jail yesterday. The sheriff's office says that do know the identity of the person who was found dead outside the Charlotte County Jail yesterday. The sheriff's office says that jail staff found the body of Janice Ridgway right near some benches outside the jail building. Turns out she had been arrested on Monday and had just been released on bond that afternoon. Deputies believe she stayed on the property until she was found yesterday morning. Deputies do not believe her death to be suspicious, but the medical examiner is conducting an autopsy to determine exactly how she died.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH. I am using any video here under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.